Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to learn more about the Fulbright U.S. Scholar Program opportunities for early career and postdocs. We'll just give it a few seconds, a chance so everybody can join, and hopefully you can see the screen that I'm sharing. Great, thank you. And you can hear me clearly. All right, so we'll just give it a few more seconds, a chance so that everybody can join, and then we can move on. Great. Well, good afternoon once again, and thanks for joining us today to learn more about the Fulbright U.S. Scholar Program opportunities for early career and postdocs. My name is Afrodita Krasniqi, and I'm the Outreach and Recruitment Officer working for the Institute of International Education based in New York City. I have the pleasure to have with us here an alumna of the program, Assistant Professor Erin Pettigrew, who went to France as part of the Fulbright U.S. Scholar Program. So Erin, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Sorry, I couldn't get unmuted there.
No worries at all. We understand the Zoom and all of that. So great. Thank you. It's so nice to have you here. And Erin is going to tell us more a little bit in a second about her recent experience to France as part of a postdoc fellowship that she had there, and how to put together a successful application and all the wonderful tips that she's going to share with us. So just as a reminder to everyone that these opportunities are open to U.S. citizens. So you must be a U.S. citizen, an American citizen, to be eligible for the Fulbright U.S. Scholar Program. So just in case we have participants who joined us today and are not U.S. citizens, we do have other opportunities for you, but those are different webinars. So I would really encourage you to look up for these opportunities. And the Fulbright U.S. Scholar Program has been open since February, and we are accepting applications for the academic year 2022-2023. Application deadline is September 15. So you can only apply to one award and one country per competition cycle, unless there are some few exceptions, but that's the requirement. So basically now I'm going to just tell you a little bit more about the history and the background of the program, because this is part of your application. Think about the mission of the Fulbright program. It is in partnership with 160 countries worldwide, and we do offer passionate and accomplished faculty, administrators, artists, journalists, lawyers, professionals from all backgrounds this unparalleled opportunity to teach, conduct research, or do professional projects abroad. The mission of the program is to foster mutual understanding between nations and advance knowledge across communities. So this is something you have to think to incorporate into your application. How are you going to serve as cultural ambassador of the United States abroad? The program was established in 1946 by Congress, and this year we are celebrating the 75th anniversary of the program. We are so proud of the program because it is also considered United States government's flagship international educational cultural exchange program. Fulbright program is sponsored by the U.S. Department of State, with funding provided by the U.S. government and administered here in the U.S. By the Institute of International Education, the organization that I work for, whereas overseas, the program is administered in some countries by Fulbright commissions, or in other countries by U.S. embassies. And U.S. embassies are U.S. government representations abroad. Fulbright program always strives to ensure that it reflects the diversity of U.S. society and societies abroad. So we do encourage the involvement of people from traditionally underrepresented audiences in all of our grants, programs, and other initiatives. So a Fulbright program offers opportunities to people regardless of their race, color, national origin, sex, age, religion, geographic location, and so many other audiences. So now just to think about what does it take to become eligible for the Fulbright U.S. Scholar Program, and in particular for postdoc and early career fellowship. So like I mentioned in the beginning, and I'm going to remind again everyone in case somebody joined us later, that these opportunities are open to U.S. citizens. So you have to be a U.S. citizen in order to be eligible for the Fulbright U.S. Scholar Program. Again, we do have opportunities for international scholars and students, and those are also offered on our website, and we do have information about that. But today, we're only going to talk about these opportunities that are open to U.S. citizens. So that's the first criteria. The second one is you have to have your PhD by February 1st of 2022, unless otherwise it is specified in the award. So there are some opportunities for early career fellowships that might not require the terminal degree or PhD. So you want to look for this information. I'm going to show you also soon where to find this important information. And then if you've had a Fulbright before, like for example, Erin here today that has joined us, you have to wait 2 years from your last Fulbright and then until the time you want to apply for another Fulbright. So make sure that this 2-year waiting period it does not apply to those that had maybe a grant as part of the Fulbright U.S. student program. For postdoctoral specific awards, dissertation must have been filed within the past 3 to 5 years, depending on the award description again. As such, for example, assistant professors who fall within this time frame and receive a junior leave are also eligible for these awards. For awards including early career, postdoc applicants and assistant professors are eligible. So early career in the Fulbright terminology, we consider those scholars or professionals that have less than 7 years of professional experience post their terminal degree or PhD. Okay, and so feel free to ask questions. You can put them in the chat, and I'm going to try to respond to them during our presentation, but I have left some time maybe in the second half of this presentation to answer all of your questions. So, feel free to put them in the chat box because I see some questions already. There are 4 types of the Fulbright Scholar Awards. And today, again, we're talking about the postdoc awards and early career. So that's the second type listed here. But just as a reminder, so you know that there are 4 types of the awards, and there are scholar awards that also welcome early career, mid-career, senior level of scholars. And then the Distinguished Scholar Awards that are welcoming more senior level of scholars who have at least 13 years of teaching and research experience. We do offer the International Education Administrator seminars, and these are mostly 2-week seminars, except for France, that they have a 10-day seminar for administrators who work in international education within the campuses. We do offer the flex option. That flex option gives you an opportunity to do multiple visits over the span of 2 years. So in case you cannot take sabbatical or leave of absence, you can choose one award that allows the flex option. We do also offer the global and regional awards, and we're going to mention some of the regional awards today. And how do you select the right award? So make sure you identify a country that is welcoming your profile of applicants. I'm going to show you also highlight some of the awards that we have for postdocs and early career, but also some, you want to look for what country matches your interest, expertise, career profile, and the proposal to the award description. Language ability, only if it is required. Majority of these awards do not require language fluency, but if they do, then you want to make sure that you also are eligible for that award. There are some awards that have discipline preferences, so make sure you follow those as well. And then why is this project relevant to the hosting country and to this hosting institution? And in the end, what are the benefits to you and your community as a result of this Fulbright project? Now I'd like to invite Erin Pettigrew to share her experience in France and tell us a little bit more about how she put together this successful application and any tips she can give you moving forward. Erin, please, curious to know more about your experience in France.
Sure. Thank you so much. And hi to everyone. I first of all just wanted to reiterate how much, and as you said, I have benefited twice now from the Fulbright, and am constantly appreciative of the time and the support for research that Fulbright and other programs like it give, because it is really essential to get dissertation research done, and then in my case, finalizing writing of a manuscript and starting a second project. And I know we all really also support the U.S. Support for American research. So I was in Paris at what is called locally the OHESS, which is basically the Advanced University for Social Sciences in Paris. And I was there from 2018 to 2019. As you see, I'm a historian, and I had applied to be affiliated with what is the equivalent of an African Studies Center there. My own research focuses on West Africa and on Mauritania specifically, which does not ever have its own Fulbright program. And so while my research is situated there because of the colonial history, there are a lot of archives in France that I still wanted to be able to access. And I applied for this fellowship specifically because I knew that many of the scholars with whom I already was either interacting intellectually, sometimes socially, and then especially whose work I was relying on, because of the colonial history of the place I work, many of them are situated in France. And I really felt like it would be beneficial to me if I were able to solidify and expand my own research networks there. And that very much happened. I guess what I'll first start out sort of mentioning is just the process for me for applying. I had applied, I guess it was a year before I ended up leaving. So I applied in the summer of 2017. And I, in my application, was as specific as possible about what project I was proposing. And I worked really hard to highlight the kinds of scholars and institutions, in my case, archives, libraries, that I saw myself being able to work in and with. I also spent a lot of time on the institutions, so the OHESS, their website, looking at scholars that I thought might have an interest in my work, and who might be willing to sponsor or write a letter of affiliation for me, because that's something that was required. Over the summer, and I know for all of you, it depends on where you might be applying to spend time. In France, some of you know, there is definitely 1 month where the French do not respond to emails, and it's a good thing. They actually go on vacation. But it meant at the end, when I was trying to gather some of these letters of affiliation, I was writing to multiple people at the same time because I knew that I would not hear back from some of them in time because of that month-long vacation. So I did have a few letters go out to different scholars. I think most of them responded in the end saying they would write me a letter, but there was really only one scholar that wrote back in time. And so I know that her letter was especially important, saying that she would kind of be responsible for me while I was at the institute. And I know that each experience is very different. I was in this African Studies Institute. I was in a very old building in Paris that happened to have a kind of space for postdocs. And so they gave me a desk there that I sometimes shared with another scholar, which is the norm in Paris anyway, that you don't necessarily have a dedicated desk. But I tended to go there most days of the week to work. And I think that helped me get to know people. It helped, just to have general conversations in the hallways, to know what was going on in the institute. And over the course of the year, I was asked to give 3 different talks in the institute for different professors and their different courses. And so that helped integrate me too, intellectually into the community. So I would say, at least from what I saw, getting this letter of affiliation is really important, and highlighting in your materials, one, why that institution, why that city, why that country are going to be really essential for you getting your own work done, and also highlighting how you will be able to contribute to the institution that you're wanting to work in seems very important to me. I would say that the year for me was very productive in the ways that I had hoped. Of course, like most of us, I didn't get as much writing done as I had anticipated. But I think aside from the writing that did happen, the real concrete takeaways for me were this real rooting and expanding of networks, scholarly networks in France. I have colleagues there now that I know I can pull on, that I do pull on for to read, read materials of mine. I also started to co-edit a annual issue of a journal with a French colleague now. I was happy to do that too, because I went to France with a high level of fluency in French, but I wasn't yet publishing in French. And so working on co-writing with her as a French scholar has been really a nice way for me to start publishing more in French. And so at this point, I continued to do that with her on an annual basis. We are also now editing a special issue of a new journal together. And now I've been asked, because of my time at the OHSS, to write a standalone chapter in French for a collected volume. So I think in those ways, for me anyway, that kind of skill building was also a part of my experience, and it was something I really appreciated. And again, I think, just now having been back in Abu Dhabi, and especially in this now Zoom world during the pandemic, and probably in a way that will continue after the pandemic, I also pull a lot from people that I became colleagues with when I was in Paris to give talks at my institution at NYU in Abu Dhabi, in ways that I think maybe I wouldn't have been as quick to do, but I feel like now I have that personal contact and the ability to do so. So I think maybe I'll stop there unless there is a specific question. But for me, I guess I would say that the year there allowed me both to get the concrete writing and research done that I had wanted to do, and then in a less concrete way, but I think a really productive way, allowed me to really expand my scholarly networks there.
Thank you, Erin, and thank you for sharing your experience and the process, the application process. That was very helpful. We do have some great questions from applicants specifically related to your experience, but I'm going to leave to answer questions after we present these awards and the opportunities we have worldwide, and then we will have a chance to get to all the great questions. So thanks everyone for putting in all the great questions. And again, as a reminder, because we did get this question again, whether green card holders are eligible. Unfortunately, they are not. So you have to have a U.S. passport, U.S. citizenship to be eligible. All right, so here I would like to highlight some of the opportunities, starting with the largest region in the Fulbright U.S. Scholar Program, Europe and Eurasia. We do have amazing opportunities, and that's where also Erin did her program in France, and France offers so many great early career awards. And let's start like just some of the highlights here. We do have opportunities all over Europe and Eurasia for early career and postdoc. So in Albania, we have this new award this year, Improving Media and Information Literacy. The scholar is expected to co-teach a course in media information literacy to first-year students in the Comms Sciences Bachelor Program at the University College in Tirana. So if you are in this discipline, you want to look for this. And again, this is an early career opportunity, as well as in Austria. We have the Fulbright Postdoctoral Visiting Professor of Austrian American Studies. It's a flexible combination of teaching, advising students, collaborative research, and enhancing institutional collaboration that entails teaching one or more courses in a week. So, and then in Azerbaijan, we have the All Discipline Award that also welcomes the adjuncts professors, because we did have a question from an adjunct professor whether those are eligible to apply. So yes, Azerbaijan and some other countries specifically, and Georgia in Europe are interested in welcoming adjuncts as well. So, and then we do have the postdocs listed here in Czech Republic. It's a new award for postdoc fellows and recent graduates within 5 years of completing their PhD studies. So letter of invitation is required, so you want to get connected with an institution in Czech Republic. Then France has the Fulbright Postdoc Award in Social Sciences, so you can conduct research in the institution where also Erin, I believe, did her project, the School of Advanced Studies in Social Sciences in Paris. Slovak Republic, all discipline in postdoc research, so you can do research in any field, any discipline. And then you can also identify a host institution yourself. Spain has a postdoc research where you can do this opportunity with colleagues at Spanish academic and research institutions. So activities might include presenting lectures, seminars, and workshops. So the multi-country award, the Schumann postdoc award at the European University Institute in Florence in Italy, you can spend up to 9 months at the European University Institute in Florence, Italy. So you could have close contact with one of these departments in economics, history, civilization, law, political, and social sciences, or the Robert Schumann Center for Advanced Studies. So these are just some of the opportunities that we're highlighting. If you have any questions as follow-ups, and in case we don't get to answer your questions, you can always email us in our regional inboxes, and I listed Europe Eurasia's email here on the right-hand corner. The next region we have Middle East and North Africa. Israel has so many great opportunities for postdocs listed here. So the All Discipline Postdoc Fellowship is a unique opportunity allowing for up to 20 months, 2 academic years of full funding. So up to 8 participants will be selected. the letter of invitation is required. So then we do have an opportunity for early career in Jordan, open to all levels, including early career academics, and the award is for 5 to 10 months. And then dependent support is available for this country. In Morocco, we have the All Discipline Award that is open to all levels, including early career, as well as, you can always contact the Fulbright Commission in Morocco for assistance in identifying a host. In Egypt, the American University in Cairo is a host for this All Discipline Award offered via the School of Global Affairs and Public Policy, School of Science, Engineering, School of Business, and so many other great departments for 4 to 9 months. So basically 1 or 2 semesters. Sub-Saharan Africa, they don't have any postdoc opportunities, but they do have 22 awards that are open to early career scholars. In Botswana, public health is their award, and applicants in the discipline of public health, biology, medical sciences can do teaching or research for 9 to 10 months. And in the Eswatini or Swaziland, the All Discipline Award, applicants have the activity options to teach research for 1 or 2 semesters at the University of Eswatini. Terminal degree is not required, or PhD is not required for this. In Malawi, we also offer the All Discipline Award, and in all disciplines, but still there applicants in these disciplines are encouraged in business, entrepreneurship, macroeconomics, education, public health, public policy, and few others. And South Africa has Science and Technology Award for early careers for 6 to 10 months. And there's so many great disciplines in agriculture, computer science, engineering, and many, many others. And lastly, in Zimbabwe, the Computer Science Award. So if you do work in the discipline of artificial intelligence, databases, data mining, data warehousing, educational technologies, and related to forensics, cybersecurity, this is a great opportunity for 10 months to do teaching and research. East Asia and the Pacific is another region that offers the postdoc scholarship in all disciplines at Deakin University in Australia. So they do have this opportunity where the letter of invitation is required, and it is for 3 to 10 months. So Australia has also postdoc scholarship in multiple disciplines related to the University of Newcastle. It's a great opportunity if you do work in any discipline. This is basically open to any discipline. You can pursue that. In Philippines, it's an all discipline award, but then they have some preferences like related to U.S. or Philippine studies, policy, sustainability, STEM, law, human rights, and these are 4 months for teaching and 3 to 4 months for research. And then this is the regional opportunity, East Asia Pacific Award, the Asian Research Award, that is open to early career academics, allows for 3 to 6 months projects that require travel to 2 or 3 Asian countries. South and Central Asia, will start with India. Fulbright Nehru Academic and Professional Excellence Award. It's an all-discipline award that funds up to 40 scholars. Projects in all disciplines are accepted, and any appropriate institution may serve as the host. A letter of invitation is not required. We do offer the opportunity for early career in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and then the multi-regional award, multi-country award that is for teaching English as a foreign language in Central Asia. The regional award, South and Central Asia Regional Research Program, is an opportunity to fund up to 2 scholars to conduct research in 2 or 3 countries in the region. So projects may be contemporary or of historical nature. And Western Hemisphere, has these unique postdoc awards in addition to several awards open to early career academics. So the postdoc awards in Canada, the Postdoc Research Award is open to projects in Black history and environmental studies in North America. Possible locations include the University of Windsor and the University of Northern British Columbia. The award is for the full academic year. In Chile, we have the Fulbright Postdoc Award in Astronomy and Antarctic Studies. The award allows the scholar to affiliate either with the Chilean Antarctic Institute or the Chilean Society of Astronomy. In Mexico, we offer the Fulbright Garcia Robles Postdoc Scholar Award. It's open to all disciplines. However, STEM fields are a priority for Mexico. So they're also interested in projects focused on public policy and health initiatives. In Peru, we have the All Discipline Award for 4 months that funds up to 4 scholars to affiliate with any accredited institution or research center in Peru. In Suriname, we have the All Discipline Award that is a small country on the northeast coast of South America. So in all discipline, and those are just, again, some of the highlights, because overall in all the world regions we offer up to 18 postdoctoral awards and then over 260 awards for early career. So great opportunities right there. Now, just lastly, I want to remind everybody that you can connect with us with Fulbright program. And I'm going to also show you the website if I have a chance to show you where to connect with us. And I believe you are connected because that's how you received this invitation today to join us. You can always email us, scholars@iea.org, all the regional emails that I was showing you on every slide for every region. And you can visit our website. You can refer a colleague if you know of other interested and passionate colleagues who are interested in teaching or researching abroad. You can follow us on social media on all of these 4 platforms listed here to learn more about the stories that the alumni are sharing and just to be up to date with what's happening in the Fulbright world. Now, let's get back to questions. Great questions, everybody. And thank you for joining us today again. So let's start. I'm gonna start with the first questions first. So are there any requirements regarding where you received your PhD? Does it have to be from the US? So that, again, it depends. There are no strict requirements against that, but you always want to make sure that you are a competitive applicant. So therefore, for example, if you received your PhD in that country where you're interested to do a postdoc, then you might want to consult with us beforehand because, again, it depends, it's country by country. So the idea, the preference will be given to those that have not had recent extensive experience abroad, because Fulbright will offer you this platform to do this opportunity if otherwise you don't have it. How many programs can we apply for a year? Like I mentioned, you can only apply to 1 award, 1 country, with exceptions if you're considering one of those listed, for example, for Europe, the Schumann Awards that are multi-country, or in some other regions, we mentioned the Asian Research Program, for example, and some others, but majority, the vast majority, you can apply to only 1 country, 1 award per competition cycle. Okay, let's move on. We do have some questions for Erin, so I want to get to those, but all right, let's see. And again, if you have like a specific question, we can follow up to your question later because we want to cover mostly the general questions. Where would the award specify date at which you would have to have your PhD? Like I mentioned earlier, you must have your PhD by February of 22 for those awards that require PhD or terminal degree for postdocs. Okay. How do we know the intensity of competition for a country? So every country has different dynamics, and we do not share the specific numbers of applications we receive. However, you want to focus on making your application competitive. So how you can do that is by following all the requirements, and we do offer even application requirement checklist, so that you can follow that on our website. And soon I'm going to show you, I promise I'm going to show you how to follow those, where to find them, and how to make your application more competitive. Is there a database where we can filter by the award characteristics? Yes, and I'm going to show you that soon. Are there any requirements regarding where you received your PhD? Does it have to be from the US? Again, I answered this question already, but keep in mind that the opportunities will be given to those who have not had recent experience abroad. Okay. When awarded with a Fulbright, do you travel with a cohort or who also was awarded grants at the same designated country, or is it independent work study? So the idea as part of the Fulbright, and Erin can attest to that, that the idea is for you to work with international colleagues abroad. Okay, you might travel with a cohort, but all the U.S. scholars that could travel in the same country will be going to their host institutions abroad, and they will be working with their collaborators. So that's the idea, to collaborate with people abroad and not, go there and then collaborate with Americans in this country, because, you could collaborate with Americans already here in the States. There is no reason to go abroad and do that.
Can I add to that?
Sure, please.
That was very much my experience. I mean, again, I think it depends very much on the country that you go to. In that, I know that because the Franco-American Fulbright Commission has been in France for a very long time, they were very active. But, having had an earlier Fulbright in Mauritania where there was absolutely no representative or commission, I was very much on my own. So I would anticipate that some people in different countries would not have that kind of support. At the same time, in France, they had a welcome event at the very beginning, and I think they had a kind of midway event. I otherwise had absolutely no contact with any other Fulbright scholars, whether they be undergraduates, just graduated, or senior scholars. And I don't know if other people spent time together. Like was just emphasized, the point for me was to really be much more immersed in the French academic environment than it was to maintain contact with Americans necessarily. But I think it depends on the individual and the site, what's possible or what you desire. The only other thing I was going to say is I did participate midway through, I think, in being on a selection committee for the Fulbright for recent undergrads. And I saw that as a kind of, payback in a way for the time I had spent there. And I was happy to do that and read through applications and participate in a really interesting committee of people to make the selections for the next Fulbright scholars coming from undergraduate. And I just wanted to say one other thing is the Fulbright Commission anyway in Paris, and again, I know that's a well-oiled machine, but they were immensely helpful in figuring out administrative logistics, getting visa procedures accomplished, making sure that you were reimbursed. I saw someone had a question about stipends, but you do get one, aller-retour, round trip ticket to your site and back home. You're paid in 2 lump sums for that, at least I was, but all of that was done smoothly as long as you get your bank account set up. And again, I know that depends on the countries, and in lots of countries, those administrative tasks are really onerous. But when you get into the system, then the Fulbright Commission anyway, on my end, it seemed like they everything moved very smoothly. So there weren't concerns about that for me. And I did in France, you do get a stipend. And it's on par with what I would say an incoming researcher, at least in my case, that the humanities would receive, which is generally much less than an American scholar would anticipate, but it is what people in Paris anyway at that level would probably be paid in the humanities. I don't know for the sciences. So it wasn't overly generous, but it was enough to live on.
Thank you, Erin, and thank you for responding to some of the questions online. I wanted to show you all the website because some of the questions could be answered while I'm showing you and giving you a walkthrough of the website and the catalog of awards. So CIS.org is our website, and probably you're familiar with it by now. And here you want to look for the catalog of awards, which is the place you want to start looking for all this important information. So what I do here, just search for all the awards, and you can see 414 awards are offered for different, countries, for all the different disciplines, different profiles, etc. So how you want to do, you want to go about filtering and identifying the best match for you is use these filters here. You can filter them by the region. You can filter these awards by country only if you'd like, or multi-country awards. You can filter just by your discipline. You can filter by the award type. So since today we're doing a postdoc webinar, I'm going to click that filter. And then you want to click by what is the activity you want to do, you're interested in. And you can select from the list here, the grant length, how long, and if they offer the flex option, the degree requirement, if PhD or terminal degree is required or not, and invitation letter, if it's required, preferred, or not required. And then lastly, the career profile. So you can also click the early career. If you're not a postdoc, but you consider yourself more of an early career, then you can select this one. So when I just selected the postdoc, see we have 18 awards, right? And we can just open one of these awards. I'm gonna show you the Czech Republic Award because this is a new opportunity. So this is in Europe and Eurasia. Every award basically will have this format. It's just the information is different, and every award will have 4 tabs. Make sure you go through these tabs because here you will find important information. The first tab is the information about the award details and what you're expected to do. And then, in addition, what you're required to do. How long is this award for? 3 to 9 months, because somebody asked, can you select how long you want to do this project for? So in this case, you can select from 3 to 9 months, right? But sometimes when it's set for 1 academic year or when it's set for 6 months, you have to adjust your activities according to that time frame because that's the funding that will be allowed if you're selected. And then if you follow these requirements, every requirement is important and every parameter is important. Those applicants that follow these requirements and parameters are always more competitive. So that's what you want to do. You want to stand out in the pool of applicants. And this is a competition, right? The award dates, you want to make sure you adjust your project accordingly. The location shows what is the proposed host institution. And then if they offer the flex option or not, the discipline is, this is open to any discipline. Scroll back up, you will see additional award requirements where the letter of invitation is required. And then additional information, we try to give you some resources, and Erin mentioned the Fulbright Commission in France, and some of the countries will have the Fulbright Commission as a point of contact. Some of the awards will list the host institution as a point of contact. So, and then some other countries will have the U.S. Embassy. So you want to make sure you check also who is the person in charge of the Fulbright program or in charge of this partnership, so you want to connect with them. The more people you connect with, the stronger your application is going to be. And then make sure you follow the language requirements. The applicant profile, so here you will see that the PhD is conferred within the past 5 years. And then more information will be found there on the some other resources. The third tab is the stipends and benefits. So the Fulbright U.S. Scholar Program stipends are different for every country depending on the living standards, of course. But make sure that you look for this information, because this will be the stipends that, if selected, this is how much you will be getting. And they are supposed to cover your living expenses in the country plus the traveling. And then additional, some countries will offer dependent support, so you want to look for that information. For example, Czech Republic will provide with each accompanying dependent this amount of funding as travel allowance. And then the last tab is the country area overview. You want to learn more about the partnership with Fulbright that this country has, etc. The application deadline, we put this in big letters, we don't want you to forget, is on September 15. You can propose a project that is for research, and you can click here to learn more what is the research entailing. And then you can do a combination of both teaching and research. The PhD or terminal degree is required, and somebody asked if JD is considered a terminal degree. Yes, it is considered a terminal degree, so you want to look for these opportunities that are looking for terminal degrees. And then this is open to early career academics. 5 people will be selected. Now, keep in mind, for every award, we do have designated staff member that will work with this country. So make sure that you also can connect with us. You can email us, or you can join an office hour. For example, we do have for every region at certain days during the week, but we are hosting a regional weekly office hours, like Europe and Eurasia has this every Monday from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. And then another important part of the website is where you see here, begin application process. You click on this. It will take you on that part of our website where you can start looking at the application procedure. Very user-friendly part of our website. It's going to show you where to review the eligibility, find an award, review the checklist, begin your application, and then submit your application. Also, scrolling down, you will find the application instructions, which I strongly recommend you download and save it on your desktop. And then for every component of the application, we do provide guidance, videos, tips, and strong, how to put together a strong proposal, and then resume, what do we require from the letter of recommendation, etc. So now let me go back to the questions. Great. So we have a question. If individuals are abroad researching on a Fulbright grant, are they allowed to travel back to the U.S. for any reason on their own expense? So keep in mind that, again, it depends on the country. Generally, it's not recommended because, like Erin said, you're expected to immerse in this society. You're also expected to serve as cultural ambassador, to connect with the community, to connect with the people. You're serving as a bridge between the U.S. and this country and this community, and you're expected to be there 100% of the time. But of course, there could be emergencies or other reasons, but the idea is for you to be in the country, okay? Great. The other questions we have, great questions. I'm just trying to select some of the ones that will apply to everybody. Are you, okay, so we answered all this already. other programs that specifically prohibit or encourage a scholar to bring their family. And as I was showing you, that there are some countries that will encourage funding. I mean, every country will, of course, allow you to bring the family or dependents, but then some countries do provide benefits for it and some countries don't. So you want to look for that information. Okay, great. Are there any countries which are specifically good for the arts or are specifically looking for artists? Yes, we do have some awards, and you can always look for these filters that I was showing you earlier, that, for example, you can uncheck the Fulbright Scholar Award, and if you want to look for just the arts, you can select the discipline here in the arts, and you will have these awards, 32 awards that are found just in the arts. So that's how you can select and then narrow down the list of, the ones that you could be a good match. Okay. So always look for a preferred discipline. So if you're in the arts, you want to pursue opportunities from one of these listed here, and then always reach out to the host institution abroad, try to connect with them as part of your application. So make sure that, again, you have a better idea when you connect with people abroad, whether this project will be feasible in this country. Okay. How competitive are the early career postdoc fellowships compared with traditional scholar fellowships? So again, I would strongly encourage you to focus on making your application competitive. So as you've seen, we do have diverse opportunities and wonderful countries, amazing opportunities. So look up for the ones where you could be very competitive, right? So where you could stand out. What suggestions do you have to receive a letter of invitation? Erin, if you have any tips to share, I know you mentioned this briefly, but do you want to share this? How was your experience when you got the letter?
Yeah, I mean, I really spent a lot of time on the institution's website, and scholars who I didn't already know. I wrote to several, maybe I wrote to 4 or 5. I would just say you introduce yourself, introduce your research, and then very clearly say, I'm wondering if you could write me a letter of affiliation for this fellowship. And many of them will just take verbatim how you've described your research and then put it into a letter. So, it's not necessarily going to have to be a tailored letter in the way that you might write for a student of your own. But I mean, the woman, and I just said that in the chat, but the woman who ended up writing the letter for me, I had never met. I knew her work. I knew people in common, but I didn't meet her until I arrived there the next year.
Thank you, Erin. Is there one application date? I'm assuming you're asking about the deadline. Yes, the application deadline is the same for all these opportunities we're showing, September 15. And again, September 15, 2021 is the deadline for these opportunities that, if selected, you will be traveling starting in the fall of 2022. So this is for the academic year 2022-2023. Okay, so that's, is there a preference given for a certain region or program for a given year? So again, you want to focus on making your application country specific. So your application has to really make sense in that particular country, all right? So make sure you tailor your application that is country specific, that the country will benefit from you, and the same, you would benefit from this experience. So all these regions are as important as the others. Are there any grants for engineering, research, or teaching? Yes, there are. You want to make sure, just look for the disciplines listed here, and I'm sure you will, once you click on engineering, for example, the awards will show up, and then you can start narrowing the list further with other parameters. So I know so I mentioned that you can only apply to one award per cycle with few exceptions. So what are those exceptions? Great question. Can you apply for a postdoc research award, U.S. Scholar, and a student award at the same time? Unfortunately, you cannot apply for both these programs, for a scholar and the student. You have to choose one of them. So the exceptions were only like the Schumann Awards, that you can choose 2 countries, or other regional awards that we have, but those are just limited opportunities. Okay, I answered this already. I'm interested in teaching abroad, not conducting research. How can I make a case to teach in a particular country? So first you want to look for, like I showed you earlier, the teaching, the grant activity. So you can select just teaching only and then see what awards will come up. All right. Because some countries will have, will offer teaching only. So you want to look for those countries and then look for like if your project would be a good fit for that country. I know you are mentioning the Africa Regional Research Program. That was just like one of the awards, and I could not include all of the awards, of course, because we do have, like I said, 260 plus awards for early career and 18 postdocs. So I just highlighted a few. Not every award that we offer was listed on my presentation. Okay. Can you summarize the application process and materials needed to apply? How long does the proposal need to be? So I already showed you on this part of the application. I'm going to include it in the chat box so you can basically just at your own time look for the more specifics of the application component. So it depends on, there are so many moving parts, as you can see here. Project statement, which is like the crucial component. But Erin, I don't know if you have anything to add to this, like how long did it take you to put together the application?
Well, probably like a lot of people, I was applying to several at the same time, hoping to have some time off from teaching. And so I think that, once I had the materials together, then I tailored them for each application. But the initial project statement and the essays definitely took time because it's like a job application. And I wanted to tailor each research statement to the institution to which I was applying. There was something I was going to add that I think was responding to someone else's question, but now of course I'm forgetting. So never mind.
Yeah, no worries, because there's so many great questions. This just shows we have a competitive pool of applicants already. So if you think of it, Erin, let me know. And then we really appreciate that, all the hard work you put into these applications, because there's so many moving parts. Now is a good time to start. Like the sooner you start, the better, of course. But again, you want to start and follow all of these instructions we're providing on our website, listen to our webinars and connect with people abroad, connect with us, attend our office hours. So you will learn a lot just from these experiences that are shared. So a great question. To apply for early career, do you have to have an active faculty position at time of the application? Not necessarily. Again, they just want to see, like, after Fulbright, if you're selected, of course, who is going to benefit from this experience, right? So are you going to share this with the community, or do you have a position you're working, or just what's the plan? But again, it depends. Some countries will have will state that on the academic profile or the candidate profile on the second tab of the application. Here I'm going to show you, for example, this one in Australia. where it says the award requirements and then additional qualification information. So, but this is, again, open to mid-career and senior level of scholars. But for majority of them, they will not say that, okay? There was a question somewhere else, Erin, I don't know if you had a chance to respond live, that were you in this position as assistant professor before Fulbright?
I was, yeah. So I got two questions. One was about that, and I was already in my assistant professor position. And in responding to someone, I remembered that, in fact, one of the reasons I had been anticipating applying for these fellowships was that I knew I had a third year leave coming up. And in theory, that was only a semester. But I was able to advocate to my dean that because I received this fabulous grant, the institution should support me having this time because it was also in their interest. And of course, you know, because Fulbright had a stipend, it also was a way for me to sort of buy my way out of that year too, because I wasn't asking the institution for any kind of financial support for that year. So I think there are ways, and I think, you know, for those of you that get fellowships, I would definitely recommend talking to senior colleagues at your institutions to see how to approach your deans to advocate for this time off if that's of concern for you.
Great, thank you. And I know we're approaching, it's now 3 p.m., but we're gonna continue just a little bit longer, Erin, if you have like a few more minutes to spare with us.
Sure.
So to get to all the questions. So is MFA considered a terminal degree? Yes, it is considered. So whenever you see those awards that require a terminal degree or PhD, you are eligible. What is meant by no recent experience abroad? Can you define that? So the recent experience means within the last 5 years. Basically, if you've had like maybe you did your PhD or a master degree in that country, or you know, and then there is like eligibility requirements. If you spent the last 5 years out of the last 6 years, you were 5 years living abroad, then you are not eligible to apply for Fulbright. You have to, you know, come back here for spend at least 2 years in the U.S. to be eligible again. But again, no recent experience means that Fulbright wants to give opportunities to those who recently, like in the last 2, 3, 4 years, haven't lived abroad or haven't done an extensive time abroad in the capacity of, you know, professional capacity. Okay. So again, related to that question, is it considered a pro or con to apply to a country you have previously spent time in? So some countries will clearly specify that they do not want applicants who have been recently. Again, if you've been in this country 20 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, that's fine. But recently, they want to, you know, the reason why they're doing is that they want to expand your network as well, but their network too. They want to work with new people who haven't been exposed to this country so much, okay? So again, it's case by case. Some countries will really clearly state that in the award. You cannot apply to more than one award. So it's not a matter of being, you know, having an advantage or not, because that was the question somebody asked. Is it advantageous to apply to more than one program? You cannot. What is the difference between the U.S. Fulbright Scholar program and the U.S. Specialist program? So the Fulbright U.S. Specialist program, first of all, is for up to 5 weeks. You serve as consultant and you apply to be part of this roster, and then they invite you if the country wants to invite you. Whereas the Fulbright U.S. Scholar program is different application process altogether, and it's for a longer period of time. So the Fulbright Specialist program is managed by World Learning. It's a different organization. Okay, so I think that we got to so many great questions. Unfortunately, we can't get to all of these great questions. Please follow up with us because if you have any like questions that I try to answer at least all the general questions. But please, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are very responsive. The team is working to get back to all the emails and all the phone calls, and we do have office hours. I'm going to show you. Somebody asked, okay, this is what I wanted to show you, where you can get a list of past Fulbright projects. So go here on our website where it says Find Fulbright Alumni. You will land on the Fulbright Scholar Directory, which is a list of all the Fulbrighters that did their program in the last 30 years. But of course, you want to connect with people who did the program like in the last 5 years. So you can filter, use this advanced search filter and just identify a few and then reach out to them. Don't hesitate, don't be shy. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing now. And Erin, if you want to add anything before we wrap up.
No, I did put my email a couple of times in the answered section of the Q&A. So for those of you that have a minute, if you want to email me, please do. Again, I think that people's individual experiences are pretty specific to the country and the institution they're at. But I wish everyone the best of luck.
Thanks, Erin. And again, thank you all for joining us today, for the great questions. We appreciate your interest. We appreciate your hard work and the contributions you want to give to these amazing countries, and also to serve as cultural ambassadors abroad. So thanks again for joining. And this is going to be recorded and is going to be archived on our website. We will send you a follow-up message to send you the recording as well. So good luck, everyone, and thank you for joining us today, and reach out, don't hesitate. Thank you, Erin, so much for joining us today, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.